This is Unit 7, Lesson 4. This is the lab on path of light. In your student pages, it's on page 315. Actually, 313. Starts on page 313, goes to page 320 in your student pages, so you can open up to that right now. We're going to follow that. We're going to follow that path, and we're going to do that right there. What I've done already is I have set up the experiment to start, and I will show you what we have here. What I have is I have my mirror right here, and I've already put my white sheet of paper, and I've made this just about 90 degrees as best I can. What I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to mark this so that if it slides, I can put it back to its original place and not lose any sleep, because I can put it back and then we can just keep on with the experiment. I'm going to mark this as the front as well. So this is going to be the front side, back side, over here behind the mirror, left, right. Okay? Remember, you got to remember we're looking at mirror images, so left and right looks like it's on the opposite side sometimes. So I mark it so I know which way I'm going and where I'm going from there. Now what I'm going to do, I need a cardboard box back here in order to hold the mirror up straight. Okay, so I've glued it onto this cardboard box. It's a shoe box, and so it holds up, you know, at 90 degrees to the paper. I've put the paper underneath, about half the paper showing, and in the mirror it looks like it extends through. Because what we're gonna do in this experiment, we're gonna look through the mirror more or less to see the path of how the light comes to us, how light would come to us, and how it reflects off, using pins like such on there to mark our way. All right. So what we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna start to mark these pins, and we're gonna go and put these in, and then again, this is 3 trials. I'm going to do trial 1 for you, and then I'll do trial 2 and 3 at off camera, and then give you the results. So I'm going to mark point A is my first pin. I'm going to mark it as point A. That's going to be about 7 centimeters from the mirror, and then on the right hand side, I'm going to take it 5 centimeters to the left of that, or thereabouts. I just mark it, and then I want to put it only right up next to the mirror. So I'm going to go a centimeter away from the mirror on that point. I'm going to label this point B. So I'm going to put my point pin in there. This is going to be my point B. Okay, and when you get through all 3 trials, it's going to look a mess. So you got to really make sure you got the points all set up. All right, now I want to take 2 of my pins, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to get down low to the mirror, and I'm going to look through the mirror and try and line up these pins in the mirror to see what the path is coming back out. So I'm going to get down eye level with the pins as best I can, and I'm lining them up. I'm not lining these 2 mirrors up. I'm lining up the images I see in the mirror, and I'm going to put those, get those in a line as best I can, and then I'm going to extend it going this way. So I'm putting my pins in so that they fill in as best as possible with a straightened line coming out. And I'm going to put 2 pins in. And you can do it 1 at a time. I tend to do it 2 at a time so I don't have to get up and down so much. And I'm going to label this point closer to the mirror D, not B. Label point B, D. And then this will be labeled point C. All right, so that's my first set. Now, 3 centimeters to the left of point B, or thereabouts, I'm going to put another point, another pin right here, about a centimeter away from the mirror. I'm going to label this point E. Okay, and again, same process. I'm going to get down. I'm going to look through the mirror, so I'm going to line up the images of point E and A in the mirror and extend them going out this way. Okay? Line them up as best I can. All right, so that's the way I go there. All right, now from here I have my points, and these are going to be labeled point G and F. So the closer one is going to be G, the farther one is going to be F. All right, now I'm going to take my pins out. I take them, I'll put them over here because I'm going to need them for trials 2 and 3. And now I'm going to extend the lines. All right, I'm going to extend the lines using my ruler. All right, so I'm going to take point A to point B, and I'm going to extend it just through the mirror just a little bit. Extend it just through the mirror. Okay, and now I'm going to take point C and D and try and intersect it. Now we're doing our geometry here, so I'm using intersecting lines. Point C and D, line C and D I'm going to make, and I'm going to extend it through to where it intersects line AB. Right, it should be right about the point of the mirror, and in this case it's just behind it, and that's all right. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with point A and E. Okay, again taking it through the mirror, just a tad. And then F and G, I'm going to line it up until it intersects line AE. And again, that should be right around where the mirror is. And again, just behind it. And that's all right. Okay? That's part 1. All right? We'll be coming right back, and we're going to do part 2 in just a second. Alright, what we're going to do now, we're going to extend these lines through the mirror, so we're looking as if we're looking through the mirror to the back, and we're going to do this nice and quick, and we'll be back in a second after part 2 to finish up and go on to part 3. Okay, at this point we're going to take measurements of the angles that hit our mirror and bounce off in their path of light. And what we're actually taking is what we call the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection. And you're going to find that those two have very similar properties, and that's what you're going to answer in the questions later. Remember, we've talked about light and how when it bounces off an object and into our eyes, it's at the same angle and intensity that it hits the object. That's what we're trying to prove in this experiment. So let's see how it works out. I'm going to do the measurements quickly, and then we'll come back and we will finish up. Okay, so now that we're finished, we did all our measurements, your paper is going to look a lot like this. All right, and I have all sorts of lines, and you're going to have different colors and all that sort of fun stuff. And what I've done is I've measured the angles. I've measured the angles of AB against the perpendicular of the mirror, and then CD against the perpendicular of the mirror, and then I've done AE and GF as well, and I've measured those angles, and we compare them. Your teachers will have a data table that will be up on a PowerPoint in just a little bit. We've also took measurements from point A where we started. Sorry, A is down here. A where we started to the mirror, and then X where we started to the mirror to compare how far our line of sight would go beyond the mirror, and go from there. So what you're going to do at this point, and this is your homework for the day, and we're going to go over them again tomorrow with some other stuff, is you're going to do the analysis. This is on page 319 of your student pages, page 319. You're going to answer questions 1 through 4 on page 319, and question 5 and the conclusions on page 20. So you're going to do 5 questions plus a conclusion. Conclusions, a 2 to 3 sentence summary of your data and what you found most interesting. I would show you the data table. Here is the data table that you're going to be putting into your notes. Everybody's going to have the same data, but it's easier to throw it up on a PowerPoint because it's tough to see. I can't get the whole thing in there without losing focus. So other than that, I want you to do that homework tonight. We're going to go over those questions tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.